everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. I hope everybody is off to a great start today. I hope that you're off to a start to your week and getting this new year off to a great start. Look, I want to take a little different approach, get a little bit more deeper than I normally do. I love to inspire you, I love to encourage you, I love to. Set a fire in the morning to get you through your days. But I want you to understand at a deeper level some of the things that you may be facing and some of the things that you can do to change that. So today I'm going to talk to you about the importance of changing your mindset and the processes that you have to go through in order to change your mindset. One of the things that people don't understand when it comes to changing their lives is they don't understand the power of the subconscious. Most people think and engage everything from a conscious perspective. So they think that if I think it and then I make up in my mind I can do it, then that's it. But what you have to understand is the conscious mind only controls about 3 to 4% of your total behavior, your outcome, your results, and everything else. The vast majority of your life and your outcomes over the course of your entire life is going to be the result of what you have in your subconscious. Your subconscious holds your belief system. It holds the paradigms through which you function, how you view life, how you perceive yourself in the world around you. And ultimately, it's going to govern your decisions, your behavior, your habits, and everything else. 96 to 97% of that's coming from your subconscious. It's what's there. It's what's moving. It's the beliefs you hold. A lot of what is holding you back are the limiting beliefs that you have about where you fit into life and what you can do based off of past experiences. Most of you are living based off of what you can call past memories, which produce and emit past emotion. In other words, if you go back, every memory you have has an associated emotion. But when you wake up, if you don't understand how to look and train yourself to look into the future and create in your mind new realities that are better than the ones in the past, you will wake up immediately consulting your past about what today holds. In other words, when you consult your past, you look into the past and you pull those memories. Those memories have corresponding emotions. Those emotions are very powerful in driving how you feel, setting your mindset for the day, and how you're going to respond to everything that you feel. Now, the problem is if you're consulting memories, which are from the past, that haven't produced the results that you desire. And then through the consulting of those memories, you're now engaging emotions that will anchor those memories. Emotions are powerful when you don't understand how to manage them. And so now they're anchoring those old memories. You get what Dr. Joe Dispenza calls the familiar past. Well, here's the problem with the familiar past. When your familiar past is not producing for you the desired results, then you end up turning your familiar past into your predictable future. Why? Because you're living off of a cyclical response to what you've always done. You're repeating over and over what your subconscious is giving you. The only way that you change your life is by changing your mind. You have to change your mindset. You have to change your thinking. You have to change your limiting beliefs. You have to go into the subconscious and you have to extract the beliefs that don't serve you well. And you have to replace those beliefs with empowering beliefs that do serve you well. Now, it sounds simple, but here's the problem. The decision is made in the conscious mind. You look at things around you and you sit up and you go, you know what? I don't like where I'm at. I don't like my financial situation. I don't like my job. I don't like this environment I'm in. Whatever it is. And so you make up in your mind, I'm going to change. Here's the problem. You're governed and controlled 96% by what's in the subconscious. And here's the thing. When you sit up and say, I'm going to do something, there's a third mind that very few people understand or know about called the analytical mind. Now, the analytical mind serves as the buffer or the filter from what the conscious mind is saying and thinking and moving and doing. And it consults, the analytical mind consults the beliefs of the subconscious mind and determines if what the conscious mind is declaring or demanding is possible. That's a problem. Why? Because you're consulting an existing belief that doesn't serve you to determine whether the new belief is possible. Well, obviously, when you do that on an analytical level, you're going to sit up and come up with the results that it's not possible. And what will happen? That idea will never ever truly be planted as a seed of possibility in the subconscious mind. In other words, this subconscious programming, which is what it is. It's like a computer program. It's been downloaded into your psyche, and you have been running that program for years. And now it's anchored. By the time you're 35, it's anchored deeply. And then you're wondering, how do I change it? What do I do? Well, you can't just sit up and say, I'm going to change. That happens every year. And you find out what happens. People come up on New Year's. I'm doing this different. I'm doing that different. New Year's resolution. I'm going to do. And then about 2 to 3 months down the line, what happens? Willpower runs out, subconscious takes over, especially the more life starts to happen, because the more you get into a grind, the more you get into situations, the more you get into things not going the way you want to. And when you're having to put out fires and everything's going on, you're going to revert back to what you normally do. Your subconscious takes over, your conscious mind gets in the background, and you're on autopilot now. What happens when you're on autopilot? You do what the autopilot is set to do. And so you're never going to get different results that way. So how do you get from what you want in the consciousness of your mind in a state of beta? How do you get it into the subconscious mind? Well, you have to create a state of theta. And the brain goes into a brainwave state of theta when you're drifting off to sleep. That's a great time to reprogram the subconscious. I teach my clients how to do that. Another way is through meditation and mind control. I teach my clients how to do that as well. Another way is through massive redundancy. In other words, what you are living right now is the redundancy of relived limiting beliefs over and over again. You can't do this. You'll never do this. You come from that. This will never happen. You'll never do that. You can't be this. You can't do that. You're not strong enough. You're not smart enough. You're not big enough. You're not fast enough. Whatever it is that you've been told you can't do, to the point at some point in your life, you accepted it as a reality. You accepted it as a belief, especially if it came younger in life, because you were probably up until the age of 7 in a state of theta almost consciously. So whatever was being pushed in your brain at that time was being soaked up like a sponge and becoming the paradigm through which you would live life. The problem is, if that doesn't work for you, how do you change it? You've got to create a state of theta. Well, obviously, you're going to be in theta when you drift off to sleep and when you're waking up early in the morning. But when you're drifting out, when you know you're about to go to sleep, you can sit up and you can set up some things. And I teach my clients how to do that. Also, you can create a state of theta through a number of different mental practices where you take over the analytical brain and you bring it down and slow it down enough till you introduce new ideas. So where now the analytical brain isn't consulting the subconscious as much as it is consulting the ideas that you're presenting it, because it can analyze much information, but it can only analyze information that's present. So you slow it down and you introduce new ideas, and you introduce new ideas to it in a way that it accepts it. Now it passes it on to the subconscious as possible. Now the subconscious has a new seed. Now you have to feed that seed. Why? Because when you take a new idea, it's planted as an idea. The more you visit that idea, the stronger it becomes, the more synaptic connections it creates, the more it starts to connect to other categories that are related. And eventually it will become the predominant order. And at the same time, the old belief will begin to atrophy and wither in the brain. Its neurological presence becomes smaller and smaller and smaller until it disappears. But this is a process of going over and over again. It isn't as simple as saying, I want to change. That's why so many people don't. That's why so many people struggle with different things, from addictions to poor behaviors, poor decision making in the areas of finance, in the areas of relationships, in the areas of academics and athletics, and so many other places. It's because they think that, hey, look, and what happens is, what you have to understand, this whole mindset thing that controls everything that you do, this subconscious mindset that controls everything you do. It's like, what can I, David Foster Wallace had a concept called "this is water." And in this concept, he's talking in his philosophy. And at a point, he says that water is so ubiquitous to fish that it doesn't exist. In other words, fish are in water so much that the water doesn't exist. They're moving around, but it never ever comes to them that they're literally being moved or controlled or limited or pushed or pulled by the current about water, because that's where they're all the time. The human mind is the same way. So it's so present, it's so powerful, it's so influential, it's operating so constantly that you don't realize it's there. You don't realize that there's a force moving beneath the surface that's controlling the reality in the conscious realm. And so you don't know what to do with it because you don't know it's there. And it's the inability to recognize the subconscious mind and its power that stops people from changing their reality. Let me explain something to you. It is in understanding that it exists that you understand and you start to move in a different way. See, you got to take the familiar past and leave it in the past. And you've got to be able to create a new idea and new thoughts for the future. And you've got to embrace the new ideas, the new thoughts, the new beliefs. You've got to be able to change them. You have to change limiting beliefs that tell you what you can't do, and govern your behavior and your habits and your expectations. And you have to change them to new empowered beliefs that do the opposite. They empower you. They change the level of expectation. They change your level of standards of operation. They change what you're willing to tolerate and receive. It gives you a new idea. A new set of ideas and a new identity. You start to live based off of your new identity. Your new identity is a reflection of your self-concept, your self-image, and that's going to impact your self-confidence and your self-esteem. So in other words, all of this stuff starts with building new beliefs. When you're able to do this at a highly effective level, there comes this point when nothing is impossible, where you can do what you need to do to become the reason you can't become what you desire to become is because you're still being governed by thoughts and memories and thoughts and beliefs of the past. Your familiar past is creating a predictable future. You're living in a cyclical process where you're simply recycling old ideas, old thoughts, old beliefs, and you're living and moving and operating off of that on autopilot. You got to change it. There are some things that you can do to change it. There are some ways you can move and operate, but there's literally nothing in this world that you can't do, but you've got to change it. Look, I'm about to get off of here. Real quickly, I would love to help as many of you as I can. Unfortunately, I can only work with so many people one-on-one as possible. It's only so many people I can work on a one-on-one capacity. And I'm not, and I admit it, I'm not the most affordable person when you come to life strategist, therapist, psychologist, coach, the different hats I wear in human performance. I'm not the most affordable, and there's a reason for that. I am exceptionally astute and effective at what I do. And my time is valuable because I only have so much of it. But what I did is I created a course called Crushing Limiting Beliefs. It is over 13 different lessons. So you do it at your pace, but it shows you how to do this. A lot of it is just simply learning how you have to reprogram your subconscious. You're going to have to change the programming. You are literally going to have to change the programming. You can't take the same programming and create a new reality. You're operating on an autopilot called your subconscious. That's how you can go and you can be in your car and you're driving home and you get on a conversation or you get into deep thought about something that's going on in your life and you look up and you're pulling in the driveway and you can't remember how you got there. Your subconscious got you there. Your subconscious controls how you respond to things, a bunch of things that you think you're operating from your conscious mind. You are. That's why you'll sit up and you'll do something, and after you do it, you reflect on it and say, man, I probably shouldn't have did that. Because your conscious mind, if it was thinking, would say, you probably shouldn't do this. But your subconscious mind is going off of memories, going off of a bunch of other things. It's triggering emotions at an unbelievably rapid pace. That's why people struggle with connection. Do you realize that you have anywhere upwards of 70,000 subconscious thoughts over the course of a day? And all these things are moving you and guide. That's how you can go from one place. You realize, how did I go from feeling like this just moments ago, and I'm over here now and I feel completely different. I go from being melancholy. I go from being happy to melancholy. Where did that come from? subconscious thoughts, cognitions moving below the surface and triggering emotions that you're unaware of how they're being triggered. And it takes you somewhere. Then it triggers another thought that triggers another emotion. And now you're on a spiral and a cascade going somewhere because you don't know how to rescue yourself. Well, the same thing is happening in every other decision you're making in your life. You're literally being governed 96% of the time by your subconscious, but that can change. It starts with changing your limiting beliefs so that you can change your life and become who you desire to be. With crushing limiting beliefs, you can do that. The link is in the description box for those of you who want to do that. For those of you who do want to work with me one-on-one, email me at ceo@rickwallacephd.link and let's talk about how we can make that happen. For everybody else, sign up, get that course. I'll send it out to you personally. I will make myself available for any questions as you go through the process so that you get the most out of it, but you're going to have to take action. It's not going to happen simply by saying you want to do it. That's why you get the vast majority of people who have all these wishes and desires and never achieve them, because they don't know how to reprogram. Anyway, that's it. I'm getting out of here. I hope you guys have an unbelievable day. As for me, I'm out of here.